It's time now for an in-depth look at the market action on this Friday, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Kim Seiwan, professor of economics at Ewha Womans University. Dr. Kim, thank you for coming on today.
Good afternoon.
Well, here domestically, we've got the outbreak of African swine fever. There are more cases popping up every day. How does this affect the economy for ordinary people, and what do you think the authorities are doing will be effective?
Well, these days, the inflation is almost 0% from the beginning of the year. But the possibility that price of the pork is skyrocketing for shortages is a big concern right now because pork is one of the most important food reserves in South Korea. So if we take a look at the case of the China last year under the African swine fever, the pork price skyrocketed by 40% in China. So this can hurt the consumer's sentiment in a negative way. That decreases already worsened domestic consumption. So I believe that it would be great if government provides enough pork from importing pork from foreign countries.
To keep the prices down, yeah. I mean, in China,
Right.
1/3 of the pigs were wiped out, reports say. Well, now,
Right.
in the U.S., we saw the start of an impeachment inquiry this week into President Trump. What impact does this have on the American economy and the markets?
Potential impeachment investigation into Mr. Trump increases uncertainties in the future. So we know that uncertainty is a bad news to stock market by increasing volatilities like ups and downs of the market. So in today's situation, both of New York and Seoul markets opened lower after the possibility of impeachment of U.S. president. So in the long run, I think at least by the end of the year, along with U.S.-China trade war, the impeachment possibility will be another burden to global stock market.
Yeah, as you referenced, I mean, there's no way that this impeachment story does not affect the trade talks with China. There'll be a calculation there. They're supposed to restart their trades in a couple of weeks. What do you think is going to happen there?
So far, actually, it has been highly expected that it would be extremely difficult to reach agreement between the two countries because the way of thinking is different between the two sides. For example, U.S. Pushes China to enforce the U.S. requirement by making new law in China. But on the other side, Chinese government considers this is something like interference of domestic affairs, not acceptable. But facing new situation of impeachment of Mr. Trump, I think the possibility of U.S. Government to make a certain level of concession to the demand of Beijing.
So this does weaken the Trump side.
Right.
Got it. Well, at the UN this week, President Trump, speaking of another trade deal, signed one with Prime Minister Abe of Japan, and that'll see Japan importing more American farm goods, meat, wine, cheese, so on. What does this mean for their respective economies and the world?
Broadly speaking, I believe it is a good news to global economy because two countries lessened the tariffs and at the same time intensified the market opening. But it should be noted that Abe administration opened Japan's $7 billion size agricultural market for avoiding tariffs on Japan's automobile export to United States. So I believe, technically speaking, it is a swapping between automobile export and agricultural import from the United States.
Yeah, speaking of what Japan gets out of this deal, they'll be able to ship America more manufactured products. You referenced cars. Japan is, of course, a competitor of Korea's in the American market, so it'll feel some effect. When it comes to cars and other goods, what should Korea be doing to respond?
I believe that Mr. Trump's administration will demand almost the same deal to the Korean government. So by opening Korean agricultural market more, they will delay, for example, tariffs on Korean automobile export to the United States. So if Korean government accepts this deal, there will be a difficult political instability because agriculture is emotionally very important part of the Korean people and politics.
All right, Dr. Kim, always a pleasure. That's where we'll have to leave it today. Thanks for your insights.
Thank you very much.